Renovating Retirement with Charlie Jewett. Oh no, I think I'm about to have another episode.
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
Hey everybody, Carlitos Jewett here. Charlie Jewett with the Renovating Retirement Podcast. Coming back to you with episode 162 of my sporadically released show, Renovating Retirement, which is on its third year now. Thank you so much for supporting the show, becoming clients, becoming agents who work with us, and just listening and sharing. Keep up the good work. Today is episode 162, RSL, Retirement as a Second Language. Now, I spend a lot of time around Spanish-speaking people.
Hola, mi amigos. ¿Cómo estás? Te amo muchísimo con todos mi corazón.
Now, I don't know why I have to use that accent. Everybody doesn't sound like Speedy Gonzalez.
I don't feel like running.
But that's how I talk when I'm being weird. I spent a lot of time around Spanish-speaking people. I took Spanish in school. I have worked in places where people spoke mostly Spanish. My girlfriend is Spanish. She's the middle child of 10. I don't think you can have a middle of 10, so nobody knows really what that means unless she's a twin with number 6. But whatevs. She's 5 out of 10. And we go to Mexico for dental work. My stepmom is fluent in a ton of languages. Tons and tons and tons. I'm just surrounded by Spanish-speaking people, and also I visited my mom recently. My mom taught in the California high school system, educational system, for many, many, many years. And if you guys know anything about California, if you're spending any time in a public school, there is a lot of Spanish. There are a lot of Spanish-speaking children, and also classes that are mostly done in Spanish at times. So it got me thinking about this sort of English as a second language, or when you're trying to learn another language, and the time I spend in Mexico or the time I spend around my girlfriend's family, and I don't know, it's not my first language. I'm not fluent. I'm not as comfortable dealing in that language. So I just thought this is a good analogy. This is important for people to know. Like, you have to deal with this language called retirement planning, and there's one of two ways you can do that. Okay, so we're going to look at those two ways today. It doesn't matter to me which way you go. There's not a right or a wrong. Well, there is a wrong. The wrong would be not to deal with it, to not protect yourself and not understand what's going on and just hope for the best. What would be right is either to learn the language or have a really faithful interpreter. So let's talk about this. There's something in your life that you're really, really good at naturally. Something that just comes easy to you, or you put the time in early on, maybe riding a bike, or playing tennis, or it could be actually speaking another language. Maybe it's your profession. Maybe you're an absolute expert in your field. I told you when I went to buy a car and I had Kelly help me because she had 12 years experience in the car industry. It came really easily and naturally to her to tell them what we wanted, what we were going to pay, what baloney sales tactics and upsells she didn't want them to do to me, and kind of how long she wanted it to take. She just snap, told them what she wanted, and it wasn't perfect, but man, did it get me through way smoother than every other experience I've ever had. They still tried some shenanigans. That's the nature of a car salesman, I guess. Sorry, car salesman, if you're listening and you sell cars and you're the one amazing, honest car salesman in the world who can get somebody out the door in less than 4 hours, then awesome. Give me a call. Let's figure out how to spread that across the country and renovate that industry too. But there's something that comes naturally to you that you're really good at, that if someone called you up and asked you for advice, I mean, it's right in your wheelhouse. Your area of expertise and skill. Someone called and asked you for advice, you could give it to them right away. Also let them know what to watch out for if they had to deal with someone besides you, and you could probably go with them for some sort of a big decision they needed to make. Like, I know some people who really, really understand solar panels and electric cars and kind of home efficiencies and things like that. Anytime I've considered getting solar panels or getting an electric car, there's one person I call that seems to know everything on the topic. That's kind of what I'm talking about. Someone's area of expertise or a language they speak really well. And I'm using it as an analogy. It doesn't actually have to be a language, but something you do well. Just like your natural language, yes, you're safe in that world, and you can help other people. A lot of people in California and other countries, of course, learn English as a second language. Matter of fact, this is becoming even more important to me because I've got a whole wing of my company where Spanish-speaking people that want to be in the financial services industry, or people that are already in the financial services industry, or maybe adding it as well as their real estate and mortgage business, but people coming onto the team to kind of help with the revolution and change this industry and help as many retirees as you can. I've got a whole wing of those where English is their second language and Spanish is their first language. Shout out to the Border Patrol guys. What's up, y'all? Keep our borders safe. Thank you for your hard work. So their English is they speak wonderful English, but it's still not the first primary, most comfortable language. So for me, Spanish is a second language and not even one that I'm fluent at. So I get really uncomfortable. And you know how this has been. You think you're actually great because you can listen to the tapes and you can write things, and then you go where they speak the actual natural speed and you're like, dude, time out. You're going to have to go 10 times slower for me to even hear the difference between the words. I don't even know where one word starts and another one stops. So it's difficult. It's uncomfortable. When you don't speak the language, but you still need to get something done, you really only have two choices. You can learn the language. You could go learn how to do everything on your own and master the Spanish language, let's say, and then you don't need an interpreter. You've saved yourself the time it would take to find an interpreter or spend with them and have everything said 2 times, first in English and then they translate, or first in Spanish and then they translate for you, or whatever. You could save time, you could save money by not having an interpreter. Or you could just use an interpreter. Say, I'm not going to put the time in to learn an entirely different language than the one I know for sure. I just have 1 or 2 important decisions to make. I'm going to, hire somebody who knows the language, knows both the languages, my natural language and then the one I need to deal with, someone that I trust, and then we'll get the job done and I don't have to learn the language. Either way, you're fine. Now, we do both at Renovating Retirement. We do both. We teach people from scratch, or people who are already in the industry, how to become incredible merit planners, how to become a retirement renovator, how to know everything about long life, short life, rough life, sick life, and into the next life. And we're building that team to go try to put the Edward Morgan Lynches out of business and turn this industry around from the people who've destroyed it and made it a completely deceptive practice where, the whole industry, it's virtually impossible to get any accurate information from anybody who's on your side, and that really needs to change. It's a service industry. We're supposed to be helping people, not hurting them. And when you've been looking at financial plans as long as I have, and now I've got some people in my life with 31 years experience in another part of the industry, working with giant teams, and he's told me the same thing, which is, we never ever come across financial plans that are built properly. We may come across plans that have some of the right tools, finally, which is refreshing. They're not just stocks, bonds, mutual funds, risk with a side of fee with the word plan stamped on it, which is not even accurate. But, it's epidemic that people have inferior financial plans. Almost every one of you listening could do something better, but retirement might be your second language. It may not be where you're comfortable. You may not notice it. When you sit down and look at your financial plan, you may not see this giant red flag screaming out where somebody that speaks that language does. So we do both at this company, which is, do you want to learn the language? Do you want to help yourself, give yourself a second career, a better career, make money like doctors and attorneys? Even if you want to work part-time by going out and doing good to people, that's fine. Get in touch. info@l5wealth.com. info at l, the letter, 5 the number, wealth.com. We're happy. There's 14 hours of training every week in addition to, that's before anything that you and I would do working together. If you'd like to be on a team built, in this industry, and you want to learn the language and therefore give yourself the best retirement possible but also help other people, that's fine. Most people don't do that. What most people do is they say, I don't want to learn another language. I'm not looking to get into that industry. I'm happy with the industry I'm in. I have some decisions to make, and this is true of you guys listening, that deal with mortgage planners, estate planners, retirement planners, insurance planners, and tax planners. You have to deal with the merit planning industry and the salespeople that are in it, and that's a different language than you speak. If you need an interpreter, somebody to help you deal with those people and to help you build the right plan, that's what we do. That's what my team does. That's the entire offer. I think people are scared that we have some sort of a fee, like it's going to be $2,500 to get our advice, because there are some advisors out there that try to build under a model like that. I don't use that model, just so you know. The advice would cost nothing because I see it as our job, our requirement, our responsibility to know how to look at a financial plan at no cost and say, I just found 7 things you could do differently that keep your monthly bills exactly the same, but you end up with less risk, higher returns, more income, lower taxes, leave more money behind. Long life, short life, rough life, sick life, into the next life. We can make them all better, keep your bills the same. Would you like it if we did that for you? And then you guys say yes, and someone else pays us to do it. Why does someone else pay us to do it? Because it's always been like that? No. Because the state of the union, the state of the retirement planning world, is that the commission strategies where you don't pay up front and someone else pays us as a thank you have lower fees, higher retirement income, and better rate of return than the stock market. So we're just in a unique time in history where charging you a fee would actually hurt you. We'd have to charge you a fee. We'd have to put you in the investments and the financial products that have not been performing well. So right now, those types of fees are kind of out the window. You can have advice at no cost. You can have an interpreter who speaks retirement fluently, helping you make the decisions you need to make. And by the way, it's a very empowering feeling. The people that have already worked with us, I don't know how you feel about that, but like having someone who knows what they're doing protecting you is a really, really fun feeling. So retirement is a language in and of itself. There's all these terms that you may not know: allocation strategies, segments, segment start date, segment crediting date, policy loans, indexed loans, fixed loan, variable loan, indexed loan with a cap, right? Annual point to point, 2-year strategies. What is that? Insurable ability, right? Surrogates. There's just a whole world of language that most people don't want to learn, but you can have an interpreter. You can have someone help you and protect you from our company or the agent or advisor who turned you on to the show, whoever it is that you're working with in the industry that you know for a fact is the best. That's the one place I won't compromise. You don't have to work with my company, but you must know and be able to prove that your advisor can build a financial plan that's better than ours, or at least match ours. They've got to be a black belt at retirement planning. You can't be working with a yellow belt and just say, whatever, I might not have a great retirement, but he's my friend. You can't do that. Can't do that. The costs are too high for you and every generation after you. So whoever it is in your life, somebody from my team, the person who turned you onto the show and had you listen, whoever it is, make sure you're getting a black belt retirement and you have an interpreter helping you speaking retirement as a second language. And that's just the very simple message from today, is whether you become fluent in retirement and you work with us, or whether you come on as a client or work with the person who turned you onto the show, make sure that there's no misunderstandings. Make sure you're getting translation very clearly, because all of these decisions are easy when you see clearly. Do you want higher income or lower? I want higher. You want to pay more tax or less? I want to pay less tax. Pay for your own medical care? Make somebody else do it. Make somebody else do it. Spouse has income if you die, or spouse is destitute when you die? Spouse has income when you die. Lose money when the market goes down, or no? Don't lose money when the market... These are all really, really easy decisions. But if I just said all of those in Chinese, unless you speak Chinese fluently, none of you would have even know what I said. That's my point. Who is translating the language of retirement for you? Do you want to become fluent yourself and help be a translator for other people? Or do you want my team to translate for you, or you already have somebody who can do it? Just make sure that you see clearly, because you are a genius when you see clearly, which is why you don't run people over in your car. It's because of the windshield. You see them in the road, you don't hit them. Everything in the retirement planning world can be just as easy as making driving decisions. And that's what I want for you, to see clearly, to be the genius that you are. I do this because I think you people are the best.
Renovating Retirement with Charlie Judith.
That's all, folks.